Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia back with another episode. Will the WWE phone in tonight's edition of the Blue Brand? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the 5th November edition of the Blue Brand, as well as the wildest wrestling news and rumors you need to know, including WWE's insane hiring policy, Roman Reigns roasts Raw, Max Caster buries WWE with rap, Scarlett Bordeaux doing OnlyFans, and more. As always, Wrestlelamia won't recap the show, but provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. The good. Los Lotharios looking good. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo are a tag team that looks so good that fans have to wonder why it took so long for WWE to team them up, rather than putting them into a senseless singles program that stretched on far too long. With any luck, this team was put together to create a solid tag team rather than Vince McMahon throwing them together because he doesn't know what to do with them in singles action. Los Lotharios have the arrogant heel act down pat, and their in-ring symmetry is undeniable. Jimmy Uso vs. King Woods delivers. Jimmy Uso vs. King Woods provided the in-ring action fans expected, and although the post-match beatdown on the New Day was as predictable as a Roman Reigns win, the match itself was a solid main event. The New Day vs. the Bloodline should be a fantastic series, and it will be interesting to see how Roman Reigns plays into his cousin's battles with the New Day. Naomi's storyline is somewhat interesting. It's good to see Naomi finally getting a storyline where she can do more than show off her in-ring skills and wait for the WWE to actually utilize her. Her budding feud with Sonya Deville continues to show promise, and adding Shayna Baszler to the program is a good way to give the Queen of Spades something to do. While it remains to be seen where the storyline is going, it has potential and it offers hope not only for Naomi, but for the rest of the women's undercard. The WWE has taken its time building up Naomi's quest to get her hands on Deville, and when the two finally meet, it could be a good match with an equally good payoff. Smackdown trying to introduce newcomers. Smackdown has a number of fresh faces, and it's good to see the WWE working to build them up rather than just focusing on the Bloodline. Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, the Viking Raiders, Los Lotharios, and Hit Row were all given matches and/or segments to let fans who haven't watched Raw get an idea of what they can do. The bad. Aimless Smackdown. While it was refreshing to see the Blue Brand working to establish its new lineup as more than filler, there was something lacking from the storylines. Perhaps it's the fact that things were just starting out, but nothing stood out as a captivating storyline. Thanks to SmackDown's good track record, Wrestlelamia is willing to give the Blue Brand some time to see whether it builds on the storylines it seemed to introduce last night, including the Viking Raiders versus Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, and the Bloodline versus the New Day. Like Raw, what build-up for Survivor Series? Does the WWE know Survivor Series is just 2 weeks out? So far, the only thing the WWE Universe has to talk about is the fact that the Big 4 pay-per-view airs on 21st November. The lack of build-up is baffling when you consider it's a potentially exciting show, with the stars of Raw battling the stars of SmackDown. The WWE's lack of effort in building the show up is further evidence that the promotion cares more about selling its content than it does crafting the content itself. An analysis of the Survivor Series build-up, or lack thereof, strongly suggests Vince McMahon believes the fans will tune in regardless of what airs. What's SmackDown Women's Championship? Tonight's SmackDown delivered with its women's undercard as the show furthered the feud between Sonya Deville and Naomi, skillfully adding Shayna Baszler to the storyline, a reminder to fans that WWE's women's division has more stars than Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. However, that doesn't mean WWE had to ignore SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte or any potential challengers. Flair's absence suggests the WWE feels it can only feature the undercard or the main event when it comes to the women. Boring Bloodline bits. Wrestlelamia hates to break this news, but the Bloodline is getting boring. Roman Reigns and the Usos have done a great job building up their heel personas, but the WWE needs to concoct a new formula before the boring chants break out. While there's something to be said for the if it ain't broke don't fix it approach to storytelling, how many times have fans watched Roman and or the Usos come out for a monologue only for a babyface to interrupt them and set up the main event, a main event which concludes with the Bloodline beating down their opponent? Wrestlelamia hasn't seen this level of repetitiveness since WCW ran the New World Order storyline into the ground by having the faction steamroll over babyfaces every week. The bloodline needs fresh blood, no pun intended, but so far, the WWE shows no signs of changing things up. The Downright Ugly. Tonight's Smackdown was nothing special, which is a bad sign as it seems like the WWE is still assessing its new roster and trying to book new storylines. As mentioned earlier, Wrestlelamia is willing to give the Blue brand the benefit of the doubt for the next few weeks, but WWE shouldn't book Smackdown on autopilot. Ricochet vs. Drew McIntyre was a throwaway match, as was Los Lotharios vs. Cesaro and Mansoor, giving these superstars TV time, but nothing else. News: 26 is the new 65. Topping today's news is a report in this Wrestling Observer newsletter that the WWE is only looking to hire female wrestlers 25 years old or younger. While it's been reported that Vince McMahon wants bigger and younger talent, Diamond Dave added, the new directives on hiring women is the recommendations are 25 and younger. Taya Valkyrie, who worked in WWE as Frankie Monet, responded to wrestling's different attitudes between men and women when it comes to age, tweeting out, "Age should never be an issue and I'm sick of people using that as a reason that someone should lose their job. I'm a woman, a wife, a mother to 2 dogs, an aunt, and a friend. Nobody should ever say that 38 is old. Grow up, STFU. I just turned 38. I've been ashamed to even speak about my age until today. 38 is not old, especially when you're a man. Process that." Nia Jax reveals details on her release. Was Nia Jax released from WWE due to her stand on vaccinations? That's the rumor that was circulating following Jax's exit from WWE, but now Jax is speaking out about her release and the circumstances leading up to it. Jax shared her side of the story in an Instagram post. "I usually keep my personal life private, but yesterday's reports leave me with no option but to clarify matters. I recently took a short leave of absence from WWE for a mental health break. I've been working through so much, more than I can share, and so I took some time, the full support of the company, to take care of myself." Wrestlers taking time off for personal matters is nothing new, and according to Jax, she felt she needed more time off. However, things didn't go smoothly. Earlier this week, after WWE sent me my schedule to return to the ring for the November 15th show, I asked for an extension to my mental health break, feeling that I needed more time and hoping I would have the ongoing support of the company I have given my all to for the past 7 years. I did not receive a response. The next I heard, I was being released. My vaccination status was never mentioned. I wasn't given any choices or options. Jax is obviously unhappy with how things played out, writing, "It breaks my heart to be so abruptly let go without consultation while dealing with so much privately. I loved my career at WWE. I love the men and women I worked with, and I'm going to need time to process this huge loss. I appreciate those people who have shown understanding and compassion during an incredibly difficult time." What do you think of Jax's story and how WWE handled her release? Does Keith Lee have backstage heat? While fans wonder what's next for recently released superstar Keith Lee, a story is making the rounds that the Limitless One may have had backstage heat during his time in WWE. Pro Wrestling Torch's Wade Keller commented on the story. "Keith Lee, I have chronicled for months and months and months and months and months, was somebody that even people that were rooting for him behind the scenes became frustrated with him. He just had, in general, attitude issues. Or, as one wrestler told me tonight, perceived attitude issues. Edging a little bit, others have said outright attitude problems. He was just frustrated. I've heard different things about him in terms of his mood being altered way more than it should be in the modern era about being asked to do a job. Fans shouldn't rule out WWE putting out a hit piece on Lee now that he's been released, but what about Keller's comments that he's heard the rumors for some time? Keith Lee and Karrion Kross discuss releases. Speaking of Keith Lee, the former NXT champion was asked on Instagram whether he had the idea to become Bearcat Lee, with Lee replying, "No, it was not, LOL." In a related story, a fan asked Karrion Kross for the bizarre helmet he had to wear on Raw, a costume change that came out of nowhere and elicited more than a few laughs. Kross answered, "Nobody wants that piece of shit, brother." Wrestlelamia can't wait to hear what both men have to say about their main roster run once their non-compete clause expires. Max Caster raps about WWE releases. Fans never know what current AEW star Max Caster is going to say when he raps, and his comments on the 5th November edition of Rampage saw Caster at the top of his rap game, with one half of the tag team, The Acclaimed, laying into roasting the WWE before Acclaimed teammate Anthony Bowen wrestled former WWE superstar Daniel Bryan. The Acclaimed, we only do numbers, but this guy's too busy growing cucumbers. Don't be mad at me, bro, cause you're only known for your wife's reality show. And you should eat some eggs. Look at Bowen's arms, they're bigger than your legs. I'ma put you into poverty, dog, cause I end careers quicker than your father-in-law. Caster not only managed to insult Danielson's vegan lifestyle, his wife's fame eclipsing his physique, and his father-in-law John Laurinaitis, WWE's head of talent relations, who recently released a slew of superstars. Caster is known for his controversial comments and his pre-match raps, but WrestleTalk's Liam Winnard pointed out AEW president Tony Khan has to approve them, so it appears Caster's anti-WWE rap was sanctioned. Scarlett joining OnlyFans? Scarlett Bordeaux was one of 18 WWE superstars who were future endeavored on 4th November, but she hasn't wasted time finding work. Scarlett tweeted the good news to her fans. I've been a free agent for less than 24 hours, and I just got a magazine cover and now discussing potential clothing lines. We're about to have a lot of fun. Well, that's good news for Scarlett. Another tweet from Scarlett has made male fans hoping it's not a prank. Do you guys want to see me make an OnlyFans? Blink twice for yes. Are you blinking twice also? Let us know in the comments below. Roman Reigns roasts Raw. Last but not least, even Roman Reigns doesn't like Raw. The current Universal Champion's monologue on Smackdown featured the Tribal Chief discussing his absence from the Blue brand the previous week, with Reigns noting, I take 1 week off and Smackdown sucks. It's almost as bad as Raw. While Reigns' comments were funny, it's probably not a good idea to acknowledge how bad the WWE's Monday Night Show has become. Well guys, there you have it, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from the 5th November Smackdown, along with the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know in wrestling. Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.